as you build out your kitchen accessories, these are the things that I would prioritize because they do elevate your content. Hi friends, welcome back to my 30-day series on how to become a food content creator in 2025. Today we're going to talk about 7 kitchen essentials that I think are necessary to elevate your food content creation. This is not to say that you need to go out and buy all this stuff right now, but as you build your kitchen equipment, these are the things that I would prioritize. If you haven't watched the first 8 videos in the series, please go back and watch those, and make sure to like and subscribe and comment. I love it when you guys comment. And let me know if there's something that you want to see in this series, because I want to make sure that I answer any questions that you might have. Let's jump right into it. The first thing that I think that is super essential for kitchen content creation is a wooden cutting board. The thing is, a wooden cutting board is going to do more for your content aesthetically than a plastic white cutting board ever will. A plastic white cutting board, not only does it show the cuts much more prominently as you use it, over time you can see the plastic becoming damaged. It also tends to retain stains a lot more prominently than a wooden cutting board. And so visually and aesthetically, it's just not a great piece of kitchen equipment to have if you want to create content. So I would absolutely get a wooden cutting board. Also, the wooden cutting board is great because you can style on your wooden cutting board. So you can actually put your plate and some fruit and a dish towel and herbs, and it's gonna give like outdoor party. It's gonna give very elevated Food and Wine magazine. It's gonna give Food Network. If it's on a plastic cutting board, you wouldn't even do it on a plastic cutting board. Like, let's be honest. So let's prioritize getting a wooden cutting board if you're looking for things that are kind of essential to food content creation. The second thing I would get is a personal size blender. And I would actually prioritize a personal size blender over a food processor, because you can food process in a blender, but you cannot blend in a food processor. And the reason I say a personal size blender is because I don't know about y'all, but I live in an apartment. I have very limited counter space. So when I'm creating content, I want to keep as much of the things that I'm using that are like kind of necessary to the shot in the shot. My 8-cup blender takes up a lot of room. It's also a nightmare to clean. It is heavy. It takes you out of your filming process to have to wrangle that thing out from wherever it is. If it's on the counter, fine, you still have to clean it, which I just hate. A personal blender kind of gives you a little bit more flexibility in how you use it and how often you use it. Because I know that for me, before I got my personal blender, if I had to blend something in a recipe, I was probably gonna make a new recipe, because I just did not want to deal with that blender. So I would prioritize getting a personal, like a 2 or 3 cup blender. Magic Bullet makes a good one, over doing a food processor. The third thing I'm going to suggest is a grater. So for a grater, you're going to use this in a multitude of ways. You're going to make hash browns. You're going to do shredded cheese. You're going to zest limes and lemons. But the thing is, you can also use a grater to grate onions and get like a really good pulverized, overly minced. Like, you can use the grater for everything. And so as you cook and as you become more comfortable in the kitchen, you might say, oh, okay, well, I kind of want a microplaner, because the microplaner you typically use specifically for like zesting, or if you want to like zest some fresh garlic or ginger over something, you could do that. But a microplaner is not going to give you the same versatility that a grater will. So a grater is a little bit bigger, and it also is going to be able to work with more ingredients than your microplaner. And this is something you can get at TJ Maxx, Ross, Home Goods for like $5. They're very inexpensive. Everything that I'm telling you to get is pretty reasonably priced. It's not something you necessarily need to go out and buy right now, but if you're in the market and you kind of are like, yeah, I kind of want to step my kitchen game up, having a grater is a great way to do that. Also, it just looks good on camera. The fourth thing I'm going to say is a chef's knife. When brands are looking to collaborate, they want to see that you actually have the kitchen tools necessary to work with the product that they're asking you to work with. Say you're collaborating with ButcherBox and they're going to send you a steak and some roast beef and a pork shoulder and just all the things, right? When you create that content, you want to make sure that you actually have the proper knives, and you don't need to go out and buy a ton of knives. I'm sure you already have a steak knife. But when you're cutting up the ingredients to use, if you're gonna make a chimichurri or you're gonna do some kind of a salsa or something to add to your pork shoulder or whatever it is that you're making, you don't wanna be using a boning knife to cut your vegetables. I think if you just wanna get a chef's knife, this is something you can literally go to Home Goods and buy a single knife, or TJ Maxx or Ross. Again, you don't have to spend a lot of money, but aesthetically, you wanna be using the appropriate knife on your cutting board. your wooden cutting board. The fifth kitchen essential that I'm going to say, and this is something that you do eventually need to make an investment in, is nice pots. I use Cuisinart stainless steel. Prior to using Cuisinart, I went through a couple different pot brands and I really was not happy with the way that they held heat. Just generally was kind of frustrated with my pots. Cuisinart has a great starter set. I want to say it's like $129, or it was something around there when I first started out, but aesthetically they look really beautiful. So if I were going to make a big investment for my kitchen, I would definitely get me a good pot set. The reason I like the Cuisinart pots is because the handles don't get hot. So I've had other stainless steel brands where I very naively thought that I could just pick it up off of the stove and the handles burned the crap out of me, because heat transfers to the handles. With the Cuisinart, you can pick them handles up, it's never gonna burn you. They just don't do that. The heat does not transfer to the handle. The final thing I'm gonna say, and this is one of those things where it's gonna carry you a very long way, you need mixing bowls. So you don't have to go out and buy Pyrex, although I love my Pyrex. I've dropped it on the ground 15 times and it's never broken. You can go buy standard, very simple metal mixing bowls. I'm pretty sure you can get them from Michael's. You can also get them from TJ Maxx, Ross. Again, most of this list, actually everything on this list you can get from TJ Maxx and Ross, including the pots. And you don't have to go buy a full pot set. You can literally go get one or two decent looking pots that perform on camera and just use those to cook. The mixing bowls are going to do you a lot of good for baking and marinades, and if you have a couple different sizes, you can also use them to kind of make any kind of sauces that you have to prepare. Aesthetically, it just looks good on camera to have something that is specifically designated for the thing that you're using it for. So obviously, like, you can use your bowl that came with your plate set, but ideally you want to be using the size bowl that is necessary for the thing that you're cooking. But on top of that, to add to the bowl conversation, this is number 7. It's kind of an extension of bowls: ramekins. Ramekins are going to be your best friend in your mise en place because they allow you to cut up all your ingredients and keep them neatly set around you. Again, Ross, TJ Maxx, Marshalls. I have these. All of the stuff that I'm telling you that you should possibly get, you can get at a discount store for a very low price. I got my ramekins for $6, $7 at TJ Maxx. It doesn't have to be hard and it doesn't have to be expensive, and you don't need to go out and buy all this stuff at once. As you're building out your kitchen accessories, these are the things that I would prioritize because they just make your content more aesthetically appealing. And when you're collaborating with brands, it's really important to make sure that you have the equipment to elevate your content. And the things on this list are going to elevate your content. So you don't need to go out and buy everything right now, but as you build out your kitchen accessories, these are the things that I would prioritize because they do elevate your content. I hope you found this helpful. If you all have any questions, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Subscribe. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. I would be so delighted to answer them for you. If you think I missed anything, also let me know. Please come back tomorrow. We're going to talk about how to keep showing up when you lose your motivation. I'll see you then.